mayor of Minneapolis joins us now, Jacob Frey, and you saw him briefly there in Whitney's reporting. And we are grateful to have you with us, Mayor Frey. Now, although it is horrendous to be talking to you under such circumstances and for this reason, I want to just begin with what the latest is you're able to tell us about the condition of those children. I know there are 3 elderly victims in the hospital, 14 injured children. We know a few of them might have been sent home. But what is the latest on how all of those victims are doing?
Well, this is an unspeakable tragedy, but how many times have you heard politicians say that exact phrase before? And yet these school and church shootings happen again and again. We have a number of professionals from law enforcement to medical that are doing everything possible for these kids and family members right now. And you have a whole Minneapolis family that is galvanized around a common cause, which is wrapping their arms around these families. And I'm so grateful for the teachers and the faculty that truly acted in heroic fashion to save lives. I'm grateful for our law enforcement and our police officers that ran towards that danger when so many of the rest of us would have run in the other direction. But here's the thing. Thoughts and prayers, while they're appreciated, they're not enough. These kids were literally praying. Of course, it's on us to talk about doing the right things, but more importantly, it's on all of us to act, to make a difference, so that it's not just, this should never happen again. I was listening to Laura just a second ago talk about how you approach these situations as a mom or as a dad, and that is the way you should approach them. These are not just somebody else's kids. Mm-hmm. Think about them as if they were your own. We all have titles in life, but I'll tell you, the title that matters most to me is husband and dad. Yep. And we have to be thinking about our children in these scenarios, and this happens far too often.
So, Mayor, you talk about this, I mean, just as parents, and you and I are both parents. Many people watching are parents or grandparents, and aunts and uncles and children in their lives. Yeah. You have 2 young children, I know, who are around the age of some of the students who were victims of this horrific shooting. And there was an image today that I saw of you. Obviously, you woke up not thinking anything like this would happen in your life today, and it did. You were sitting on the steps of the school church today, the Annunciation School Church. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you have what we call return, but there you are, alone, as police are then around you. What went through your mind at that moment as you realized that this is what you were facing as a mayor of this city, that your city had changed, that you had changed?
You think about your role as a father. You think how other dads that are feeling on that morning. When I was running as quick as I could to get to the scene of this horrific act, there were dads that were kicking off their flip-flops, carrying their kid like a football, running towards the school because they had another kid potentially inside. You know, we all have these beautiful moments that seemingly are routine in the morning, where you put a headband on your little girl and you whisper a few beautiful things in her ear, or maybe not so beautiful, and you say, get out the door, and you shove them some applesauce. You do that hopefully with the confidence that they're gonna come home and that you're gonna see them that night. Every parent should have that assurance that their kid can go into the first week of school and learn math and play out on the playground and laugh with their friends and mess around in the cafeteria, all the kinds of things that every kid should be entitled to. It's hard to have that kind of confidence if you're worried about a school or a church getting shot up. Mm-hmm. And so when we talk about these things never happening again, let's make sure they don't happen again. Because, by the way, you know, how many times have we been here? How many times have you done nearly this exact same interview? This has happened in other countries, and guess what? They do something about it.
Yep.
We got to do something about it here.
So, Mayor, one thing as I was preparing for this today, I did unfortunately watch the video that the shooter had posted, and in just trying to understand what happened. It's incomprehensible. I'm just wondering if you have any information as to why or how. I mean, somebody so depraved is out there and was able to get all the things that happened, right? All the things that happened, and the surveillance and the planning, and all of these things happened. And at this point, we don't understand that anybody raised any red flag about it, and maybe more reporting will come out, but we don't have it at this point. Do you know anything about why or how this person was even able to do this?
I don't. I think we can all speculate, but the reality is that anybody that would be willing to commit some sort of horrific act is not stable.
Yes.
It's an act of cowardice. It is horrific. And, you know, let's call a spade a spade. You can't do something like that. No, I mean, I obviously have heard a ton of rumors, as I'm sure you've heard. I've heard tidbits about what's in this manifesto. I don't know a whole lot more yet, but truthfully, it doesn't matter when there are kids that are dead. That's what matters. What matters is wrapping our arms around these families. What matters is making sure that as a Minneapolis family, as an American family, we're doing everything possible to hold these families close, because they are going through the very worst moments that they will ever experience in their entire lives right now. In Minneapolis, we're strong, we're resilient. We get knocked down 7 times, we get back up 8. But what makes us special is that there is this kind of compassion and this love for one another. And I know that these families are going to be feeling a whole lot of it right now, and they need it.
When you talk about compassion, I don't want to tiptoe around the edge of this, but you know, the shooter's name was in question, the gender of the shooter. No one's really sure what's going on there. 5 years ago it was Robert, then a name change to Robin. Okay, this is being seized in all corners, as you can imagine, in all sorts of ways, and you know that, Mayor. And perhaps that's why, when you spoke about this so profoundly and powerfully as you are even here now, but when you spoke about this today publicly, you voiced concern for the transgender community, for the community overall. And obviously, you chose to do that in that moment because you thought it was important. And I wanted to give you a chance to say why you felt it was important to do that in that moment.
Obviously, I've heard about the rhetoric and the narrative that is being pushed out, but here's the thing. Anybody that is going to use this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any community has lost touch with a common humanity. We got to be operating not out of hate for any group, but out of a love for our children. That's where the focus needs to be right now. A love for our kids, seeing these kids not just as somebody else's kids, this horrific thing happened, but what if it was our own? How would we feel then? So, look, we need to be standing up for every community out there, a Catholic community too, by the way. I mean, any community that suffers this kind of blow, our Minneapolis community, you got to stand up for them. But, you know, I feel oftentimes in these instances there's this desire to villainize a group. You want to call this an act of cowardice? Do it, because it is. But regardless of what group or background, gender, you know, the bottom line is that kids got killed. Let's love each other more. Let's love each other more, because the antidote to hate is not more hate. Hurt people, and the antidote to hate is a whole lot more love. That's where we all need to be going right now.
Well, Mayor Frey, I'm grateful to you for taking the time and sharing that. And thank you. Thank you for being with me and for talking to everyone under such horrible circumstances.
Thank you.